So today we are going to learn anatomy of the heart, physiology of the heart, and the function of the heart through this class. So all of you watch slide number 3. Previous slide. Yes. Now by looking at this slide, we can understand what is your size of our heart. So we have to, if you want to know what is the size of your heart, just fold your left hand and make a fist. So you can see the size of your fist. So that is equal to your heart size. So by this slide, we can understand the size of our heart approximately. So the next slide, here you can see the picture of your thoracic cavity. In thoracic cavity, the heart is protected. A heart is a organ which has only muscles, and it is protected by our thoracic cavity with the help of our ribs. So there are 12 ribs we have. It is starting from the just below the collar. We can start number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. So from 1 to 12, all the ribs are covering our thoracic region. So our heart is located exactly in between third and fifth ribs of our left side of the lungs. Left lung. So normally heart is located in the middle and slightly to the left side of the thoracic cavity on the diaphragm between third and fifth ribs. Here I have to explain what is diaphragm. Diaphragm is a domed type muscles. It is separating the thoracic region from abdomen. So when diaphragm contracts, it helps to enlarge the size of the thoracic cavity. By that, we can inhale more air. So without diaphragm contraction, we cannot breathe the air. So as a yoga instructor, you must know about the function of heart as well as the thoracic cavity area structure and their function. So by explaining about heart, we can understand the function and structure of our thoracic region. Okay, now we can see our heart is located in the middle of third and fifth ribs to the left thoracic cavity. You can see near that left lung is there, and you can see the veins in blue color and red blood vessels in red color. So here you can see, as I have told you, by making your left hand fist, you can judge your size of your heart approximately. Now next slide number 6. Inside slide number 6, you can see all of you watch slide number 6. Sharing, screen sharing is not, okay. Slide number 6. 6, yes, no, before that, yes. Now we can see the posterior surface of our heart. Posterior means from the back side of our heart. So here you can see right ventricle at the bottom and left ventricle at the bottom, left atrium and right atrium. Okay. So in picture, the heart, we can understand through this picture, the heart has base. The base is just above the left atrium and right atrium. That is called base of the heart. Apex means the tip of the left ventricle. You can see the left ventricle, and below that there is a tip that is called left, that is called apex of the heart. It is just opposite part of the base of our heart. The apex of the heart is the maximum impulse point. So when we keep our hand on our chest, we feel more sound. Hello? Sir, somebody is talking. Can you continue?
Continue.
Okay. So apex of the heart is nothing but it is just opposite to the base of the heart. Your base is at the top of the heart. You can see the large portion that is called base of the heart. So when we keep our hand on our chest, we feel the maximum impulse because of the apex of our heart. The apex of the heart. See the slide number 7. Now you can understand the structure of heart. You can see the top edge is base. The bottom edge is apex. So we can move to slide number 8. Okay, now we are going to learn what is the structure of heart. You just imagine there is a house with top 2 rooms and bottom ground floor 2 rooms are there. So first top floor, there are 2 rooms. There are 2 rooms. In medical term, they are saying chambers. The heart has 4 chambers. Okay, first one we are going to know where is right atrium is located. So when we go to first floor, when you see a house which has first floor and ground floor, the first floor left side room, when you are looking at the house, the left room in the first floor, that is called right atrium. The right side room, when you standing in front of your house and looking at the first floor, right side room, that is right, that is left atrium. Next one is right ventricle and left ventricle. Both chambers are located at the ground floor. So here you have to know the meaning of atrium. Atrium is an anatomical cavity or passage, especially a chamber of the heart that receives blood from the veins and forces it into a vertical or ventricles. See the right atrium that receives blood from inferior vena cava and superior vena cava. Slide number 9. Okay. So first one is right atrium, right ventricle, left atrium, left ventricle. Among these four chambers, first we are going to learn the structure of right atrium, structure and functions of right atrium. Right atrium receives blood from superior vena cava and inferior vena cava. That passes the blood to the right ventricle. When right ventricle filled, then the right ventricle contracts and send the blood to the lungs. Right ventricle receives deoxygenated blood and it is passing to the lungs through pulmonary valve. Then next thing, left atrium. Left atrium is receiving blood from aorta from the lungs and it is filled with oxygenated blood. Then the oxygenated blood from the left atrium passing to left ventricle. So once the blood reaches to the left ventricle, it is passing the blood to our body. So what is the meaning of ventricle? A chamber of the heart which receives blood from a corresponding atrium and from which blood is forced into the arteries. Ventricle is nothing but it is a room or it is a chamber that receives blood from artery and which contracts the blood to the full body. So next slide you can see the structure. Now you are watching the anterior surface of our heart. Anterior means your heart is facing towards you. Your heart is facing towards you. That is anterior view. You can see the right ventricle, left ventricle, then right atrium, then left atrium. And here you can see just above the right atrium, superior vena cava. Then at the center top, you can see the left common carotid artery. Then descending aorta, left pulmonary artery. Left pulmonary artery only is supplying the blood to the left ventricle through left atrium. So next, right atrium. Right atrium is located at the right side, top of the right ventricle. That is right atrium. Right atrium receives venous blood from whole of the body via the superior vena cava and its upper end and inferior vena cava at its lower end. So what they are saying, the right atrium is receiving blood through inferior vena cava and superior vena cava. That blood is without oxygen. That is called, a blood is without oxygen is called deoxygenated blood. That is passing through superior vena cava and inferior vena cava to the right atrium. So next, this deoxygenated blood passing to the right ventricle through open tricuspid valve. Through open tricuspid valve, the blood is passing from right atrium to left, right atrium to right ventricle. Then this right ventricle is filled with deoxygenated blood. Once it is filled, it is passing to the lungs through pulmonary valve. Once the deoxygenated blood reaching the lungs, it is oxygenated by the lungs due to lungs function. So next it will come next the oxygenated blood is flowing into the left ventricle, sorry, left atrium. Once the left atrium is filled with oxygenated blood, it is passing to the left ventricle. So now you know very well that what is the function of heart and how it is functioning to supply oxygenated blood. Now we can see right ventricle picture in slide number 11. Next, slide number 12, you can see the left atrium structure. Next, slide number 13, you can see the structure of left ventricle. Usually, those who are in sports or those who are doing regular physical activity, they have enlarged size of left ventricle. If a person is involving in weight training or if he is involving in throw events like javelin, shot put, discus throw, they have enlarged, they have big muscles, big wall muscles in ventricle, in left ventricle, because due to regular training, there is a changes in left ventricle wall. Next, slide number 14. In slide number 14, you can see there are many layers covering our heart. The first one is outer epicardium. The middle one is middle myocardium, then inner endocardium, and a covering pericardium. So next is slide number 15. We can see the location of our pericardium. Now you can see the heart, which is pericardial sac has two layers. The first one is a serous layer, serous layer, and fibrous layer. It closes the pericardial cavity, which contains pericardial fluid. So this pericardial cavity, which contains pericardial fluid, to avoid unnecessary vibration, or it protects our heart from the injury. The pericardium fixes the heart to mediastinum, gives protection against infection. So this pericardium helps us to protect our heart from the infection, and it helps to lubrication. It provides the lubrication for the heart. What is the use of lubrication here? When heart moves, when body moves, the heart also moves. So to avoid the unnecessary movement, the lubrication is helping. Pericardial sac normally contains up to 50 ml of pericardial fluid. In that, our heart is floating. So next slide number 16. Epicardium. Epicardium is the outer epicardium, the outer layer. You can see the picture. The heart is appears in white color. There you can see the position of the outermost layer of the heart. That is called epicardium. And here you can see the color picture. Fibrous pericardium. Then center is myocardium. Parietal layer of serous pericardium. Pericardial fluid and visceral layer of serous pericardium. So these are the structure of epicardium that is located outer edge of our heart. Next, epicardium. After epicardium, the middle one is myocardium. It is a thicker middle layer of the heart composed of individual heart muscle cells called as cardiomyocytes, joined together by intercalated disc, encased by collagen and other substances forming the extracellular matrix. The next slide is endocardium. Endocardium is a third layer of our heart, that is in endocardium. So you can see the real picture of the heart, and they are showing the location of endocardium in our heart. And you can see the endocardium position. Its endocardium is cells are embryologically and biologically similar to the endothelial cells that line the blood vessels. So it is located nearby blood vessels also. Next one is we are going to learn about different valves located in our heart: mitral valve, aortic valve, tricuspid valve, pulmonic valve. So there are 4 valves inside our heart. So these are located in our 4 chambers. As you know very well, the top 2 chambers are right atrium and left atrium, right ventricle and left ventricle. Now I will explain about the 4 valves and their location. So the mitral valve, aortic valve, tricuspid valve, pulmonic valve. First one, I will explain where is this tricuspid valve is located. The tricuspid valve is located in between right atrium and right ventricle. Then from right ventricle to lungs, there is a valve. In that, this pulmonic valve is located. There is a valve located in between right ventricle and lungs. That is called pulmonic valve. Then mitral valve is located in between left ventricle and left atrium. Aortic valve, you can see the picture. The center one is aortic valve, that is in between lungs and left atrium. So next one is slide number is 20. There are 2 great arteries located in our heart. The first one is aorta. You can see the left side picture. They have marked and mentioned aorta. Below that, you can see a valve in blue color that is called pulmonary artery. So the pulmonary artery that is supplying deoxygenated blood from right ventricle to lungs. This aorta, it is located in the heart. It supplies blood from lungs to left atrium. And here you can see the aorta, and pulmonary artery, both are in blue and red color. So next is slide number 21. You can see the chest X-ray of location of our heart. You can see the right atrium. At the bottom, you can see the right atrium chamber position. Next is slide number 22. The physiology of heart that includes systole, that is contraction of the blood vessels, diastole, relaxation of the left ventricle, diastole, relaxation, arterial systole, arterial diastole, ventricular systole, ventricular diastole. So here I have to explain one by one. The first one is systole. Systole meaning is contraction. Contraction of blood vessel. The next one is diastole, is relaxation. When there is relaxation, there will be more space in the blood vessel for free flow of blood. Next, atrial systole. Atrial systole means the decrease in the size of chambers, atrium chambers. Atrial diastole means the relaxation of the atrial chamber. Next one is ventricle systole. Ventricle systole will happen, ventricle systole that happens in both chambers, left as well as right. And ventricle diastole also happens in both left ventricle and right ventricle. Ventricle systole, during that time, both chambers, they contract to exert the blood to the lungs, and left ventricle supply the blood to the body by systole action. Left ventricle diastole, when blood once forcefully exert from the left ventricle, then it is coming back to diastole position to receive the blood. So here they are showing total cardiac cycle will take 0.8 seconds. Systole will take 0.3 seconds. Diastole is taking. What is the meaning of cardiac output? Cardiac output is equal to stroke volume multiplied by heart rate. So stroke volume means, first I have to explain what is the stroke volume. The volume of blood exerts from left ventricle. That is called stroke volume. So here you can see they have mentioned 70 ml of stroke volume at a beat. In a single beat, 70 ml blood is exerted, multiplied by 75 beats, heartbeats per minute. So these two are multiplied, then we are getting what is our cardiac output. So here they have mentioned 5250 ml blood, that is called cardiac output. The amount of blood exerted by your heart in a minute, in a single minute, that is called cardiac output. Stroke volume is nothing but the volume of blood exerted from your left ventricle in a single vertical, single left ventricle contraction. That is called systole. So next one is, sir, physiology of heart. You can go to slide number 23. So I have explained what is cardiac output and what is stroke volume and how to calculate cardiac output. So next one is slide number 24, conduction system of the heart. Yes, correct, sir. So here you can see sinus node. From that only we are getting nerve impulse to the heart function. So the sinus node pass the impulse through different nerves and it is passing to AV node. AV node, from AV node we are getting the control of impulse. So here you can see sinus node, right atrium, AV node, right ventricle, left atrium. The sinus node is the important for getting nervous impulse for our heart function. So next one is vascular system. Vascular system is nothing but blood circulation. I have told you from right atrium, blood is flowing to the left ventricle, right ventricle, then it is going to lungs, from right ventricle to lungs, then through aorta it is coming back, oxygenated blood is coming back to the left atrium, then left atrium to right atrium, then it is going to all over our body. So this is the blood circulation is going inside our body. Due to circulation, it provides blood to travel from heart to different part of the body with oxygenated blood. It carries cellular waste. So due to blood circulation, there is first important benefit is it carries the oxygenated blood to our different parts of the body. Then second thing, blood carries the cellular waste to the excretory organs. Then third one is return blood to the heart of recirculation. So the third function, the third important benefit of circulation is the waste blood is nothing but deoxygenated blood is passing back to the lungs. The next slide is arterial system. Arterial system. So arterial system delivers blood to various tissues. So arterial blood vessels that supplies oxygenated blood to all the part of the body, it is marked with red color. And as I have told you already, transport of cellular waste and contribute thermal regulation. So it helps to maintain the temperature of our body. Next, arterial system. Now we are going to learn about blood pressure. Blood pressure is nothing but force of blood exerted against the vessel wall. So for example, you are connecting a hose in a tap. Now you are opening the tap. The water is flowing forcefully inside the hose or valve. So now you can see the size of the valve is increasing because of the force which is applied by water from the tap. So the force is called blood pressure. The force which is act on our blood vessel is called blood pressure. So once again I will explain. The force is exerted by our blood on our blood vessels. that is called blood pressure. So it is regulated, blood pressure is regulated by autonomic nervous system, kidneys, and endocrine system. So by the involvement of these three, only we can regulate the blood pressure. So next one is palpation of arteries. So if you take left side of your, take your left hand and keep it just left side of your trachea. Trachea means the just below the chin. There is a part, trachea, just left side of the trachea. If you keep your two fingers just near the trachea, you can feel the heart rate. Sorry, I forgot to tell what is palpitation. Palpation of the arteries. How to feel the arteries in our body. Slide number 28, sir. Yes. Palpation of arteries. It is a method how to feel the arteries. The first one is near our neck, left side of your neck. If you keep your fingers near the trachea, you can feel the artery. You can feel the heartbeat. Then if you take your right elbow, center of your right elbow, you can feel the heartbeat. And if you press near the left hand wrist, below the palm, you can feel the heartbeat. Then D on stomach, near the chest they are keeping. Then behind our leg, just behind our knees, if you press at the center, you can feel the heartbeat. And you can feel the right leg, big finger and second finger, you can feel the heartbeat. And you can feel at the side of your ankle. So these are the places you can feel the heartbeat. In first aid, they say, except this neck and except this neck, chest, we can control all other this pressure point to control the blood flow during the open injury. So when there is open injury, you know very well that there will be a blood flow, more blood flow. To avoid blood flow, by keeping the finger as it is shown in the different places except chest and neck. If you press with your fingers, you can control the blood flow. So we can save blood. So as I have told you, what is the meaning of blood pressure? Here there are two types of blood pressure. The first one is systolic blood pressure. The second one is diastolic blood pressure. First one is what is systolic. So next slide. Next slide, blood pressure. Before that, yes, blood pressure. First one is systolic blood pressure. First, you have to remember what is systolic. Systolic means contraction. Diastolic means relaxation. So, what is systolic blood pressure? The amount of force generated by left ventricle to distribute blood into the aorta with each contraction of the heart. That is called systolic blood pressure. So in simple form, I will say, when left ventricle contracts, it generates force on the blood. So that force working against the blood vessel, that is aorta. So that pressure only is called systolic blood pressure. So in human, the blood pressure, it may be 90 to 135 mmHg. So next one is, it is systolic blood pressure is affected by cardiac output and arterial distension. Next one is diastolic blood pressure. The amount of pressure sustained faced by the arteries during the relaxation phase of the heart. That is called diastolic blood pressure. The ability of the heart to rest while filling with blood. Ability of the heart to rest while filling the blood, affected by peripheral vascular resistance. The diastolic blood pressure changes. The diastolic blood pressure may be in between 60 to 85 mmHg. So next one is, if the diastolic blood pressure, systolic blood pressure changes in the value mentioned by medical field, we may face hypertension or hypotension, low blood pressure. So here you can see the different ranges of systolic blood pressure and diastolic blood pressure. I have already explained to you. So once the blood pressure is crossing 130 to 139, that is stage number 1, that is hypertension stage number 1. Then if it goes beyond 140, that is stage number 2 in systolic blood pressure. Systolic means contraction of left ventricle. During that time, it happens. Diastolic blood pressure happens during atrium, during relaxation of the atrium and ventricle relaxation. So next slide is venous system. Venous system is nothing but the blood vessel which is carrying deoxygenated blood from different parts of our body to our right atrium. So I have explained about this in the system of heart function. The next one is slide number, this is the last slide, venous system. Series of veins located adjacent to arterial system. Veins collect blood from the capillaries and terminal arterioles. It is ending, acts as a reservoir of blood, low pressure collapsible system that work against effects of gravity. So you came to know what is the structure, what is the function, and what is the location of different valve and what different chambers through this class. So I thank everyone, those who attended this class. Sir?
Yes, sir. Thank you, sir.
Okay, sir.
Thank you very much, sir, for taking a wonderful session. It is my privilege to propose vote of thanks. The Bhaskaran sir, you are not only a physiology teacher, you are a philosopher and guide, all modeled into one person. You will always be grateful for your support. The normal teachers tell about something. The good teacher is explanation. The superior teacher is a demonstration. The great teacher is inspiring. So today our inspiring to motivate to deep explanation to the function of heart. I thank the Bhaskaran sir to take the wonderful session. I thank you very much. For any doubt, you please ask Master sir. Thank you very much, sir. Wanted to participate. Middling, sir. Thank you very much, sir.
Thank you very much. Wonderful sections that we had.
Thank you. Thank you.